I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to build momentum to make creating what you want happen in a much easier way. And the first thing that I want to share with you in this video is just to keep in mind that anything that you love, anything that you want to have as a part of your experience for perhaps even the rest of your life will require momentum. It's going to require some type of momentum. Now, what do I mean by momentum? It's just where you are very focused on your task to the point where it doesn't feel as much like a struggle, like a very difficult and strenuous task. Now, anything that you love is going to require of you to get into that state. It's sort of a state where you can still do action, you're still doing things, but there's a certain level of calmness and restfulness while you're doing that not only do you feel better while you're doing it, but your productivity and your ability to create more actually increases and heightens. And so anything that you love, that you really want to just again, have a part of your experience and stick around for perhaps even the rest of your life, is going to require you to put in a certain level of action to then get that momentum going, where it now doesn't feel as much like a difficult process. And so if you really want to have something that you love in your life stick around, I encourage you to start to take this concept of momentum very, very seriously. Take it very seriously, because if you start to take this concept seriously, what will happen is that things that are coming into your experience that are not aligning with you keeping that momentum, with you keeping that sort of flow of action going in the direction that you want, you will learn to ignore those things or to create a boundary with those things, because they cannot help you in that moment. They're not helping you, they're not serving you in that moment. So just keep that in mind. If you want to create something that you really, really love, try to consider this concept. I invite and encourage you, you don't have to do anything, but I invite and encourage you to take this concept of momentum much more seriously to then get those results that you desire in your life. And the second thing that I want to share with you in this video is just to remember that how to even achieve momentum is very, very simple. All you really have to do is just have consistent, focused action on one thing over a long period of time. That's all it really is. That's all momentum really is. If you put in enough focus, enough attention, enough energy, you could even say, another way to say it is, although it might sound weird, consciousness, just focus, right? Putting all your energy and your attention into one thing over a long period of time, whether that's in one day, whether you put in many hours in one day, or whether you're putting in many hours in one day, every single day, over many, many years. Like, just in the short term or in the long term, if you're putting in that consistent, focused energy, you're going to start to build momentum. And momentum is such a powerful concept, because I think that if you take this concept seriously, it's going to help you to really create what you want in your life. And although we already are past that, how do you get there? Just take this concept seriously of putting in consistent, focused action over a long period of time. Take that really seriously. If you really want to create something, you don't have to do it. Like, again, I don't want to make it sound so weird where it's like, you need to take this seriously because I'm telling you that you have to do it. It's like, no, it's not like that. It's more like, if you really want what you want, and you take your goal seriously, and you take your desire seriously, whatever your desire is to you, if you say that you want what you really want as bad as you say that you want it, then perhaps maybe it's important for you to put in consistent, focused action over a long period of time. And you don't have to do this, but I believe that if we do this, this creates the environment to have the highest probable chance, or create the highest probability of creating what you want in the most effortless, you could say. I mean, you don't have to really say effortless, but just in a way that's with as little struggle as possible. And to me, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I don't know if that, if you agree with that. But for me, building momentum is just so powerful, because I don't want things to get in the way of my momentum when I'm creating something. If I'm creating something, I don't want things to get in the way of that. I want to be focused. I want to be locked in to the point where nothing can really get in the way. And that sounds weird again to say locked in. These type of words, these types of statements to say it in that way, but it's true. If you want to be so focused to the point where nothing can distract you, nothing can get in the way of your focus and your attention and how committed you are to the task, remember that to even build momentum to begin with, it's going to require you to put in that consistent and focused action over however long. Are you ready to put in action maybe for a few days? Maybe for a couple hours in a day, in one day? Are you ready to put it more? And doesn't even, I just want to digress here just for a moment. Whatever consistency means to you, it doesn't have to be every single day necessarily. It doesn't even have to be every other day. It just has to be some type of structure and consistency. It could be every other week. It could be 5 minutes of something every 3 weeks. Like, it doesn't really matter the structure of it. It's just the consistency. If you find that you're spreading something out too much and that it's not consistent enough for you to build momentum, well, then you need to figure that out. For me, sometimes what I've noticed is that taking daily action on something every single day helps me build momentum. And I'm not saying that you can do it every single day. Sometimes you're going to have to take breaks. But for the bigger picture here, every single day kind of action thinking is very, very powerful and helps you to create what it is that you want. I find that personally, in my experience, that to be the case a lot of the times. But if you really, really, really want to create what you want and you take that goal you want seriously, just start to build a structure for what can help you to build more momentum. If you're not taking enough action, change the structure perhaps around in your life to take more action to build more momentum. Now, if you're taking too much action where it's not allowing you to keep that momentum going because you're so focused and you're so committed that you're not taking any rest days, and that's stopping you from building momentum, that's a problem as well. Which leads me to the third point in this video, which is that if you really want to build momentum, also you have to take breaks as needed. Breaks are so necessary, and it's counterintuitive, and it seems counterproductive because we want to create more and we want to build and we want to get the thing that we want in the fastest way possible, and we want to get it now and we want to achieve that result, right? We really, really want this thing in our life. We really want to create something. But the truth is that we also have to take breaks as needed when things get too stressful, too strenuous, because stress is good. I think that a certain level of stress and problems, so to speak, or let's just stick with the word stress, is good. Like, stress is not a bad thing, but too much stress, too much negativity can become a huge problem. So just remember to take breaks as you need, right? If things become a little too strenuous, a little too difficult, you're putting in just a little bit too much work, you're focused just a little too hard, right? You feel like you can't even, like you're a little bit too all over the place. Well, that's your opportunity, perhaps just to take a break and remember that you can come back stronger to have even stronger momentum. See, taking a break is going to help you to have even stronger momentum in your life because, for me personally, if you're so focused on something that you don't even take a break, that's going to stop the momentum. That's going to stop the momentum as well. See, too much focus can create a whole backwards effect where now the momentum stops in that direction too. You can't just have momentum without a break. A break is so necessary. And just even remember this as well, that for me personally, I find that momentum comes from a restful state. See, like anything that's powerful that you're going to create, that's going to be very, very good, a good result. Like, what is even good? Good, of course, is subjective, but why is it that some people can look at something and we can all agree to some degree that some things are just good, just really good in society, just a good invention, like a house. You could probably agree a house is good. Now, maybe some people don't agree with that. Maybe some people might say a house is better to live in the forest or something, right? And that sounds funny to say it like that. But the truth is that, yes, it's subjective, but I think we can all agree that being in a restful state is going to be beneficial. Being in a restful state is going to feel good. Can you agree that being in a restful state while you create what you want is going to be good? I would agree so, and I would say so myself, but just remember that for me personally, I don't know if you agree with this, But I think that to create momentum, to be able to create momentum where you're taking action, that has to come from a restful state. Momentum just does come from a restful state. Just keep that in mind. If you want to build momentum, if you want to take action where now you feel like that action is not as strenuous, like I talked about at the beginning of the video, that is in of itself a restful state kind of action. Action shouldn't be a difficult thing. Action sometimes is going to take, don't get me wrong, sometimes action is going to make you sweat, it's going to make you work hard, it's going to make you put, like, nothing in life, like, there's going to be always that other side of the perspective where you're going to have to remember that on some level, to some degree, although even everything that I said is true, on the other flip side, there's always going to be the truth that nothing comes easy. Nothing comes effortlessly. Some things are just going to take time. Some things are going to require you to put in just a little bit more work and a little bit more efforts. But even though that is the case, again, going back to this other point, momentum is going to come from a restful state. It's going to come from a state of restfulness. Excuse me. And from a state of feeling grounded and focused and attentive and giving your full attention to the task that you're doing. See, if you want to do something powerfully, give it your full attention, give it everything that you have, and try to make it so that you can come from a state of restfulness rather than forcing that action to be something that happens, because there's no reason to force something. And if you want to force something, there's a time and place for that. There's a time and place to force something, but just remember that with that type of situation, there has to be a proper environment for you to do that, as well as you're going to have to take a break eventually as well. A break is going to have to happen, and that's going to help you to build back stronger and have more momentum later. 90% of the repairs at night in your body happen when you're sleeping and when you're doing nothing. When you're doing absolutely nothing. That's when the repair happens. The body repairs when you do absolutely nothing. Not when you're working out or when you're doing stuff or when you're doing the stressful tasks. The repairs happen when you're doing absolutely nothing. And that sounds strange to say it like that, but it's the truth. And so remember that if you want to be in a state where action doesn't feel as difficult, you're going to, again, I'm not saying that it always has to be the case. Sometimes action is just going to be difficult. But if you want to strive towards that to some degree, and that's something that's valuable to you, to me that's very valuable, is how do I make working as efficient and as simple as possible to get that result with as little work as possible. And that sounds horrible to say. It's like, we do not want to put an effort. No, I'm not saying that I want to put an effort, but I'm saying that we also have to use leverage, the concept of leverage, to our advantage. If you can use leverage, then absolutely do it, because leverage is going to help you to create what you want in an easier way. You have the proper systems and the right structures to make things easier, then do it. If things can be easier and not as hard, then why not make them easier? That's what life really is. And moving forward in life is about taking pain, and then, that pain point gets so uncomfortable and you get so disgusted with the pain that you decide to make a vision to create something better for the future. That's what life is about. Life is about taking the pain of the past and creating a better future. That's all it really is. And that's not going to happen without taking a break. So just keep that in mind. And with that, I conclude